Because it's like you'll go outside in moments like these and everybody is just like fucking has the mask on. Everybody has the mask of like, especially on the weekends, I noticed, because like everybody, that's when everybody's off, right? Everybody has the mask on. Everybody has a drink in their hand. Even in moments of the worst sadness and pain, I don't think people even know how to feel that. I don't think that people even know how to fully hold space for themselves to process emotions in their own lives, let alone when there's something happening in the lives of others. Like, I know so many people who just don't know how to process and feel their own emotions. And it's like, we keep making this an us issue, but it's like, bro, this system does not allow for you to feel. This system does not allow for you to be a human. You have to physically make space for it. You have to physically like go and beg your boss for time off. Like, how fucking dystopian is that? Can you say hi to the people, or are you just not in the mood? You're so cute. What's good, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So today's video was supposed to be a vlog, but I've been like editing, or I was trying to edit yesterday, and it just feels so dystopian, like trying. I couldn't even get through editing the clips because me seeing myself living life from a couple weeks ago, it's so drastically different than how this past week has been for me. Like, I feel like I've spent this past week like just laying on this couch and not really doing anything and not really being productive. And it's weird because I feel like my job, or before I felt like my job was to like come on here, motivate you guys, go after the life that you want, do the things, you know, like usually I'm a pretty positive person. But I think over time, like as I've started to heal and like go within and like just go down my spiritual journey or whatever you want to call it, I've learned that like there's so much of that like need to bounce back and be positive all the time. It's a lot of times rooted in, I guess I would say, capitalism, but like I think it's a bigger picture thing. I would say I think it's rooted in like almost fear, because it's like if you're not positive, if you're not productive, if you're not at your best 24/7, which is what we're, you know, I get paid to push that. When you're not being like that, when I'm not being like that, it's not as profitable. And it's not as, maybe it's less fun to watch too. I don't know, but I feel like at the same time, like it's just kind of weird that as a lot of us go down these like spiritual journeys of like wanting to just be more conscious and aware individuals. Maybe you're not spiritual, maybe you're religious, whatever it is. Maybe you're not even any of those things. Maybe you're just like a self-help kind of self-improvement kind of person. There's a common, what am I trying to say? This is just a common thing of like being so afraid of negative emotions, being so afraid of feeling things when things are going wrong, being so afraid of ourselves, really, because it's like a lot of times I think that when people have things going on in their life, maybe they've lost someone that they've loved, or maybe they just are going through a hard time with personal stuff or whatever it may be. We all have different like stories and things. Our society is so much like, okay, like, oh, like take a day off, or like, you know, give yourself a week, grieve, do what you got to do, but like do it behind closed doors and do it in a way so that when you show up to work, you're still being productive. Like, I think for corporate people, it's a bit harder because you have to show up every day consistently no matter what. But even like for me as a YouTuber, it's like, bro, like that shit's kind of dystopian when you think about it, because I'm not supposed to, but like I get more views, I get more, you know, views equate to dollars, right? It's more beneficial for me as an influencer to post the highlight reels and post the best versions of myself, because I don't know, it fits the narrative that we've been taught, that like you gotta keep grinding. Because really, like, I think a lot of times, like, it's not so much about being positive. I think a lot of what's being pushed onto us that we don't even fully realize is being productive individuals. We tie and I've said this a lot, but I think I'm fully now feeling it right now, is like we tie so much of our self-worth to how productive we're being. And we tie so much of how we see that we're doing in any given moment to how productive we're being. Even if it doesn't mean like productivity in terms of, you know, your corporate job. I think we've turned our entire lives into little ways to be productive. If you woke up this morning and you went to the gym and you did all the things off your little list by 8 a.m., you feel better about yourself. Like, and I'm not denying that doesn't, it's weird. It's hard because like I'm a self-improvement person. So I've always preached like, oh, that's like, it does feel good. It is a good thing to do that. But at the same time, it's like, bro, we have real shit happening right now. Excuse my language. We have real shit happening. Life happens to people, even outside of this, right? I'm gonna try not to focus the entire conversation on the genocide, even though that's been literally the only thing on my mind for the past however long. I want to make this a bigger picture thing because I genuinely think that it is. And I think that by zooming out, it will help. I don't know. I think it'll help us kind of understand like why right now is such an important time to kind of like pause and really look at ourselves. So I'm saying this all to say that like we've gotten to a point now as a society where you guys remember that trend of like 9 to 5 and 5 to 9 where it's like people would like show what they're doing like in their free time. And then I think some people started like saying this too. It's like it became this weird thing of like, bro, we are constantly like judging ourselves. We are constantly like measuring, like even on your days off, like on the weekends, how productive were you? Did you go to the gym? Did you socialize? Because you got to remember to keep your friends. Did you go to the farmer's market? Did you meal prep? Did you clean your house? Did you get enough sleep? Like, but it's like, how can you do all those things at the same time? Like, how is that possible? And it's not, because I think that like we have to recognize that we are also human beings and like you're not a machine. And then again, especially when like something like life happens, we do this thing where we're like, oh, my mental health was so bad around that time. Like, but then I got better. And we see it as like, okay, right now I'm like disabled because I've spent the past week on my couch crying. But it's like, bro, that I'm just a human being. Like, I'm literally just a human being. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, but again, our system is built in a way where you don't have the time to grieve. And it's like I've been judging like friends and family and stuff, these past couple of weeks. So I'm like, bro, how are you still functioning like nothing is happening? But there's also a level of privilege in the fact that like I work for myself. I can make my own schedule. I can push back sponsorships. I have more free time. And so I have the ability and the luxury to be able to feel these human emotions and grieve. I have the luxury to be able to not be productive all week and, my job literally being me sitting here like not complaining, but talking to the camera. Like that's literally, I'm getting paid to do this and not everybody gets to do that. And so I'm starting to realize that like for so many people right now, especially with what's going on, the reason why so many people are still carrying on business as usual is because we as human beings don't have the capacity to grieve. And it's not because there's like something wrong with us, I think, as people so much. Because I used to blame it like, sorry, I just realized there's something in my hair now. It's going to bother me until I get it out. Yeah. A lot of people don't have the time and a lot of people don't have the energy to give. And it's because they're being drained of their life force. Like, and I don't mean this like in this like super dramatic way. I'm just trying to say that like capitalism has literally sucked the life out of so many people and so many of us that when it comes time to actually be a human being and grieve or, pause or focus, do what you got to do in moments when like emotions are high. Capitalism makes it so that there's so little room for you as an individual to feel that. I watched this video or this TikTok by someone who I actually have looked up to for a really long time. Her name is Kai Foster. She basically was talking about how she's allowing herself in this moment to go insane and to embrace her humanity because it's like you'll go outside in moments like these and everybody is just like fucking has the mask on. Everybody has the mask of like, especially on the weekends, I noticed, because like that's when everybody's off, right? Everybody has the mask on. Everybody has a drink in their hand, or not everybody, but like most people, even in moments of the worst sadness and pain, I don't think people even know how to feel that. I don't think that people even know how to fully hold space for themselves to process emotions in their own lives, let alone when there's something happening in the lives of others. Like I know so many people who just don't know how to process and feel their own emotions. And it's like, we keep making this an us issue, but it's like, bro, This system does not allow for you to feel. This system does not allow for you to be a human. You have to physically make space for it. You have to physically like go and beg your boss for time off. Like how fucking dystopian is that? And before we get too far in today's vlog, I want to thank today's video sponsor, which is Water Drop. If you guys have never heard of Water Drop, they are a micro drink brand that adds vitamins and flavor to your water from all natural fruits and plants. I really like them because I'm honestly a really big water person. I actually really enjoy the taste of water, but Water Drop gives you little micro capsules that you can add to your water that give you a very subtle flavor, but they also add, again, more vitamins, more minerals. They add more hydration to your water, so you're getting more benefits out of it, and it tastes really, really good. It kind of helps inspire, or I guess like motivate me to drink more water throughout my day because they have different flavors. My personal favorite is the watermelon. I want to say it's the watermelon breeze flavor. I'll leave a picture of it on the screen. You guys can tell because the box is so busted up that I use it so often. If you want to be a little bit more focused, they do have some caffeinated micro drinks. They're kind of like teas. And they're, again, made from all natural ingredients. There's no added sugar. I just like them because they're a very, very clean brand. So depending on what, again, you're looking for to add to your water, you can kind of shop around and see what they have. And honestly, I think that this would be really, really good in like a mocktail as well. I've never personally done it, but I feel like if you just want to add like, again, flavor to a drink, like maybe like a sparkling water or something, then you can add this to that and like put it like in like a cute like little wine cup or something. I don't know, I just think it's a really good idea if you ever want to like kind of try to switch things up. Yeah, I just like it because it's very, very subtle. I feel like a lot of other, sorry, I'm like literally spitting. I feel like a lot of other like drink flavoring, like water flavoring brands that I've had in the past, especially ones that like add hydration or whatever, a lot of them are a little bit too strong for me. They're a little bit too sweet and too sugary. This one is very, very subtle, which I really, really like. It's not too much. It still feels like you're drinking water. It doesn't feel like you're drinking like juice or anything. So I personally really, really enjoy this brand. And I'll be sure to leave a link to them down below if you guys do want to check them out and get a discount. So yeah, thank you again to Water Drop for sponsoring today's video. And this is also your reminder to drink some more water. If you have not drinking water today, drink some. Anyways, let's get back to the vlog. Isn't that fucking dystopian as shit? Like, people are fucking 7,000 people in the past 3 weeks have died in Palestine. 7,000 people. And we're seeing it and happen in real time. Like, if you're on social media, you've seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe you've scrolled past it. Maybe your algorithm isn't giving it to you anymore, but it's fucking happening. And it's insane. I'm not going to get into it because I've talked about it now for 4 videos and I don't want to keep, actually, no, I'm going to keep talking about it because it's fucking crazy. It's crazy. I literally, last night, I'm sitting here on my couch watching a city, literally a video of a city getting bombed, screams from people because they have no other way to communicate because Israel shut off their Wi-Fi and their power. People are just screaming. I'm literally looking at a video of someone on the speaker at a mosque calling out for help from the world. And we're expected to just sit here and be like, let's go to work. Come to the gym with me. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Like, give me a couple weeks when the ceasefires happened, because it's gonna happen. Palestine will be free. This violence will end. But right now, because this is still actively happening and there's no sign that Israel wants to let up on this at all, I cannot come here and just distract you guys and entertain you guys. I can't do it. I cannot participate in that whole like game. If I'm having a good day, maybe I'll film some like good day content. I need to get back into like yoga and getting in the gym. Like, I'll get there, but right now I'm not there, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend and like distract you guys. I just can't do it. I don't really have a lot of valuable advice to give today or insight. And I'm not even gonna apologize, honestly. But I just wanted to like let you guys know that I'm here, and yeah, this is where I'm at today. And I love you guys. I hope you guys are taking care of yourself, and doing what you can. Stay informed, stay aware, like I always say. If you guys were at the protest this weekend, then that's awesome. Keep an eye out for more protests and demonstrations in your city. I've been trying to share them on my Instagram stories, but I would recommend you guys go follow the Youth of Palestine on Instagram. I think that's the name of it. I'll leave it on the screen. They post protests and demonstrations all the time. There's also a couple other ones. I'll leave them all on the screen. But yeah, I think honestly, one thing that has really helped me today has been like going out and just being around people who care and who are like, bro, it's fucking, I just want to talk about this really quickly, like, because you guys know I'm like a very spiritual person. I believe in like energy, and I believe in like again, this is all part of the fucking journey right now, and like people are really waking up. Sorry, it's really loud outside. I just think that we've been lied to for a really long time when it comes to like colonialism and oppression, and we've been led to believe that like all that exists in the past when it really doesn't. It's like happening in real time. And again, because our systems have been designed in a way for us to not be able to handle emotion and handle real grief and really question our governments and our systems, because we all have that cognitive dissonance. A lot of us have not fully known it, and so now there's like this huge mass awakening happening of people finally understanding that like, oh, your government doesn't serve you. And also the reason why a lot of other people in the world feel like America is evil is because of the actions that we've taken on people. A lot of people are waking up to that. Black, white, Middle Eastern, Jewish people are like, literally so many people are waking up right now from like different religions and races. And so there's this huge shift happening. And I'm saying this all to say that like in this moment, as heavy and intense and sad as this has felt because of the amount of loss that we're seeing, one thing that has really helped me has been just going and showing up at these protests and just being surrounded by people who genuinely, like, there's people who go to these protests who have been doing these protests for years and years and years for Palestine, and their strength and their confidence when they're screaming out Palestine will be free and that this occupation will end and all these things, like, they inspire me so much and remind me so much of like my strength and my inner power. And just being around, again, people who just care and who like are feeling the emotions the way that you're feeling them and like screaming out, like there's just so much power in that. And I think that, again, like so many people that I've spoken to recently who I notice like they're spiritual and they're like, they want to, again, protect their energy, like whatever. I've spoken to people and I've seen people online who are like that, and it's like, bro, I don't think you realize that like this is a movement of love. This is not a movement of fear. It's actually love. Like, I went with a friend who, I'm not going to say like their name or anything, but she didn't want to come at first with me to the protest last week. So she walked with me to it and then we separated. Sorry, my camera overheated, but she just really like spiritual. So she was very much like, I don't want to pick sides. Like, I just choose a side of love. And like, she gave me some crystals and she's just like very much like, you got it when it comes to the protest. And then she saw the protest and she saw all the people and like all the different colors of people in the protest and the different ages and all these different things. And she was like, actually, like, she called me and she's like, where are you? She's like, I want to join you. And she walked with me. And she was the one who pointed out to me, I don't know if you guys saw me, I posted a story of like these birds flying over the crowd, and they kept doing like this figure 8. And she literally was like, Lynette, like, these birds, like, they're doing a figure 8 over the crowd. She was like, bro, this is like, she literally was like, this is like what did she say? She was like, 8 is like the number of completion or something. And she was just saying like, I don't know, it was cool to see the way in which like, even someone who is like afraid, or they feel like they might be afraid of like stepping into spaces like that, understanding that there is a spiritual and like a divine component to coming together as people and calling for the liberation of people who are oppressed. And it's like, oh, and that's when she was also saying, she was like, yeah, like, she was like, I feel like this is like a mass like form of like prayer, like manifestation. And I was like, exactly, like that's exactly what it is. Like, when so many people, like, when we talk about like shifts can happen when people come together and meditate and pray and do all these things, it's the same thing with these protests. Like, they're literally, it's an energy shift, right? Even if it's just like, you feel like you're just like this one person, but like, we are so powerful in numbers as people. And so going to those protests for me has been something that has really, really given me more hope. hope and really, really helped me find my power, especially again as I listen to people and just like learn from people and just watch and be around people who have been fighting for this cause and fighting for the liberation of other people for like a long time, you know. And it's also like really helped inspire me to like look into the history of solidarity between Black and Palestinian people and like how we've supported each other throughout the years and like just the entire way in which it's just crazy when you really, really dig into it and like the way in which we've been like taught like history, just period. It just makes you realize like, bro, we've been taught a lot of lies. You know, like Nelson Mandela was called a terrorist at one point, right? Like, but now we look and we're like, bro, like fucking South Africa had apartheid. And now we're seeing a whole other country who literally has an apartheid state and who has had it for so long. And it's like, bro, like we're gonna look back on this moment in history and it's gonna be so clear, like it's going to be so clear like who the oppressors were, who the oppressed people were. There's going to be, in the same way that there's a Holocaust museum, there's going to be a museum for Palestinian people. But it's like in this very moment, bro, this shit is still happening. So it's like, why don't we wake up and fucking stop it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, in history we're taught about the Holocaust, we're taught about slavery, and we wonder like, how did these things happen for so long? Like, but it's like, this is literally how. It's because in the moment when it's happening, a lot of people again are more worried. They have to feed themselves, they have to do all these things. So it's like we're in this like mass psychosis as people, and it's literally only because there are billionaires hoarding all this fucking money. And it's like there's enough money and resources on this planet to make us all fed, to give us free healthcare, to make it so that, you know, your student loans are forgiven and you're just not as worried about the cost of living being so high. Like there's a world in which that could exist, but that doesn't exist right now because so many rich 1% people don't want for that to happen. And isn't that like fucking crazy when you really think about it? Sorry, my camera keeps overheating, but yeah, there's just so much to learn about right now. Like honestly, if you're feeling hopeless, also like the other thing that I really recommend doing is just take this time to just learn as much as you can. Literally, I know it sounds crazy, but like TikTok, YouTube, there's so many different platforms you can learn on. I would recommend also reading different books like Frantz Fanon, George Jackson, Blood in My Eyes, a really, really good one. Just really, really like look into how everything is connected. Look into the ways in which Hollywood and the government are related and how, you know, we've been subconsciously programmed to believe certain things about ourselves, especially as Black people. Look into the music and the way that it's affecting us, right? Most of us, not most of us, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but a lot of us have started to wake up to the fact that, like, you know, a lot of music that we have listened to, especially again in the Black community, promotes violence and like hypersexualization of women and like ignorance and drama. And there's just so much music that we listen to that we don't realize is subconsciously programming us and turning us against each other and making us hate each other and just promoting self-hate, just period. And when you look into the way that those things are connected to like all these bigger picture things of like white supremacy and you know, police brutality and mass incarceration, and the fact that like there's all these different things that we have like slightly woken up to in different like little blips throughout our, you know, our lifetime as someone of like this generation. You know, we had the George Floyd protests, we've had, you know, documentaries like 13th where people have learned about mass incarceration, we've learned about climate change, we've learned about all these different things, but it's really, really, really hard to see the way in which all these things are connected until you zoom out and until you look at the bigger picture and realize who owns the world, who owns all of this, who benefits from us fighting, who benefits from Black people hating each other, who benefits from, you know, climate change affecting Black people and poor people the most and the quickest, right? Who benefits from, you know, from people being sick and eating food that's poison and then us being forced to take pharmaceutical drugs the rest of our lives, and for people who have mental health issues to be having to take pharmaceutical drugs as well to remain productive members of society. Like all these things are connected. You see the ways in which, you know, Black people, brown people, people of color are affected by these things the most. There's also a genocide that's been happening in Congo, which is actually the biggest genocide in the world that so many people haven't known about. Millions of people have died in Congo, right? Millions of people have died in other countries, in African countries. Like, Africans have been killed and enslaved, and still to this day so many of us are slaves in ways that we don't even fully understand, especially as Black people with money. A lot of us are just fully cut off from that side of, you know, America that still exists, right? So many Black people are living in poverty, and again, you know, we benefit from focusing on ourselves and just focusing on grinding and, you know, making more money and doing the things. But I think it gets to a point where we have to, like, the people who do have money and power, and people like you and I who have the luxury to be sitting up on YouTube and talking and listening to other people for hours or whatever, you know, like, we have a responsibility in a way to, like, not forget about people who are suffering, you know, like, we have a responsibility, and, like, it's not all on us, it's not all on me, it's not all on you, but, like, bro, collectively as a people, when we, like, stop watching fucking Baddies East and reality TV and, like, put down the Drake for a second and stop going to the club for a second and stop drinking every weekend for a second, it's like, bro, there's some bigger picture shit happening in this world that we, like, if we all were aware of it and tapped into it and not just distracting ourselves and trying to be, like, fake positive and, like, get the fits off and, like, post on Instagram because you just want to be a social media content creator too and you want to live your best life, but, like, statistically not everybody can do it, because it's just not, if everybody could do it then it just wouldn't be a thing. Like, if we all woke up to that, it'd be like, bro, like, actually we could live in a country where, like, healthcare is free. Like, we could live in a country where, like, a lot of us are not in student loan debt. Like, that's possible. And it's also possible to live in a world where a genocide's not happening. But it's like, so many of us, like, literally Americans are made to be dumb. Anyways, I could talk about this shit for hours. I'm not gonna keep, like, going on, but, and this is, like, not what this video was supposed to be for at all. But I'm saying this all to say that, one, feel how you're feeling right now, make space for it in any way that you can. And if you have a job, if you're working any job right now that shames you or is, like, trying to, like, suppress that, then, like, I really do encourage you to start looking for another job. Honestly, like, walk out, be loud about it. Like, we can't just keep allowing, like, this system to force us to not be human beings. Like, again, even if this genocide is, like, not striking something in your heart right now, then, you know, even in moments when you're going through personal stuff in your life and you're not given time and space to process and feel that, call that shit out and walk out, you know? So yeah, that's kind of, like, the first thing is, like, again, just, like, be a fucking human right now and, like, acknowledge if you're seeing other people be a human and feel what's happening and, like, choosing to tune into that collective rage that's brewing, and it's necessary for us to change things. Don't fucking shame people and, like, be, like, stop being a fucking NPC and, like, allow people to feel what's happening, because this is necessary. You know what I'm saying? And, like, if you're avoiding it, I just encourage you, like, bro, just, I'm sorry, I'm being so, why am I saying bro? Just try to give yourself space to just be a human and, like, tap into, like, what other humans are feeling right now. And if it doesn't resonate with you, then fine. If you are feeling heavy or whatever, just know that you're not alone and that we will be fine and we'll get through this and we will pick ourselves back up and we're just going to continue fighting. But despite how we're feeling right now, like, the people in Palestine, they just need help and they need people to keep supporting them. And, like, they don't have people speaking for them. They don't have a whole propaganda machine. They don't have all these things and all these businesses and corporations and governments backing them. It's just people. So it's like, you know, no matter how you're feeling right now, I just am encouraging you, find your power, do what you got to do, but, like, keep fighting for people, like, keep talking about it, keep showing up, like, you know, figure out where you need to have your boundaries, but, like, do what you can every single day and, like, don't let up. And it's gonna be exhausting. It's gonna be fucking sad. It's gonna make you angry again and again, because when you're plugged into what's happening in the world, you can't not feel that. And that's okay. Like, it's okay. And like, again, do what you got to do to pay your bills and survive, but like wake up, you know what I'm saying? And again, some things that have really helped me kind of stay sane right now amidst everything is to, again, keep showing up in person when demonstrations are happening and being around people and just being in that energy. And if you want, maybe meet people there. I need to kind of start doing that myself, is like being open to like talk. I talk to people who like come up to me, but like I don't like try to like make connections. But I think that it could be helpful to like make connections with people at these things and like build community of people who are also interested in like organizing and helping and doing these things. Do that so that you realize that you're not alone. But also, like, when you do get the chance, like, educate yourself as much as possible. Like, read, again, watch the videos. Even if you're just scrolling on TikTok, I know people are trying to like make people who like consume a bunch of TikTok seem stupid, but it's like, honestly, my entire algorithm right now is just fucking educational videos. It's like videos about history, it's videos about science, it's videos about things that are happening right now around the world from different perspectives, and that's valuable. Okay, sorry, my camera keeps overheating, but yeah, I just want to close this out by saying, just stay empowered, stay informed, do what you gotta do to take care of yourself, and yeah, I love you. And we're going to get through this. It's going to be okay. The eclipse season is passing us. The heaviness of everything is passing us. And we're going to be able to start integrating this and like applying this into our everyday lives and figuring out how we're going to do it. But I think it's just going to take time. And honestly, I think that a lot of us right now are going through these like ego deaths because a lot of us are understanding that what we were previously doing in our lives hasn't really been that impactful or hasn't really been as impactful as maybe we thought. I think a lot of us, and maybe this is just me, maybe this is just a me thing, so if it is, then, you know, whatever, you don't have to claim this for yourself, but I do think a lot of us are going through these like deaths within us right now, like the death tarot card of like our old life and our old selves dying, and a lot of that for I think a lot of people is like the selfishness dying and us kind of realizing that like, oh, there's a bigger picture thing happening, and like I can take care of myself and do what I gotta do to like live the life that I want, but like I gotta think about this thing from a bigger picture lens, and I gotta really like, I can't just be complacent. Like every day I gotta like think about how I can help people type shit. Until there's a ceasefire, I think that a lot of us are just gonna have to keep going fucking crazy, because that's literally what the world needs right now, I guess, for genocide to stop. So yeah, I love you. I hope you guys continue, again, taking care of yourselves, doing what you gotta do. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below how you're doing, how you're feeling. This is a space, again, for us to share and feel what we're feeling while also figuring out how we can be empowered and informed. So I will be sure to leave a link to ways that you can help down below, different sources and just things that I'm learning about right now that are like helpful for me. And again, everything that's going on, I'll just leave links to everything that I can. And yeah, I love you. I'll see you guys in the next video.